I really appreciate the support you guys have shown throughout the past month or so when it comes to following me on my journey as a comic book creator, but not just a comic book creator, but a creator in general that's just trying to forge my own path during this creative process. And I really appreciate that. And I've mentioned before that if you're a creator yourself and you're trying to figure things out, I always say that if you have a project, it begins now. Don't wait for it to be perfect. Just start it. Just release the damn thing. And you guys resonated with that. But what happens once you release it? What's on the other side once you're self-published and your creation is out there? We're just beginning on this journey. You're at the very beginning of this, because what you don't understand is that there is a lot of work when it comes to being an independent creator that a lot of creators don't tell you or don't share about the things that comes with this. When people tell me that they want to create their own comic book or create their own novel or game or any other creative idea that they have, I always get excited for them because I know exactly how they're feeling. They're thinking about the characters, the world, the action scenes, the emotional moments. That's the fun part. But after spending the last several years building Venus Orion Comics, releasing my first book, running crowdfunding campaigns, building this YouTube channel, and preparing for Varian Keller's Vampire Killers Chapter 2, I realized something. Nobody really tells you what comes after you decide to make the comic. And honestly, I wish someone would have told me. Now, before I continue, I want to make this very clear. I'm not saying that this is the only way to approach comics or your creative journey. I'm still learning myself. So these are simple lessons that I've learned over the past couple of years, and maybe this will help you or somebody else avoid some of the mistakes that I've made as a comic book creator or just a creator in general. See, the comic is only half the job. When I first started, I thought that creating comics just meant writing a great story and finding a great artist, and that's it. And if the comic was good, people would just naturally form around it organically. And at least that's what I believed at first. And then it really hit me. Making the comic is only part of the process. And then comes the marketing, building the website, managing social media, planning campaigns, paying invoices, scheduling, building an audience, creating YouTube videos, answering emails, managing finances, learning crowdfunding, and suddenly you realize that you're just not making comics anymore. You're actually running a business. And there's one lesson that I learned very quickly as an independent creator, that there isn't a department, there isn't a marketing team, there isn't an editor to sit behind you, and there isn't a publisher to pay your bills. You're the writer, the producer, the marketer, the project manager, and sometimes you're even the customer support. And yes, that was a nightmare. And I explained it before when it comes to Varian Keller's Vampire Killers when I launched the first chapter, that the printing company had made a mistake and misprinted the first cover of cover A, and a lot of customers had emailed me, contacted me, and let me know that the pages were mismatched and out of order, and I had to go in there and rectify it myself while I wait for the printing company to send me a new batch. And at first, that can feel overwhelming. I remember looking at everything I did and thinking, how was I supposed to manage all of this? And over time, I started to realize something. You don't do everything at once. You build systems, you learn, you improve little by little. People ask me, how do I stay motivated? And honestly, I don't always. Some days I don't feel like writing. Some days I don't feel like creating videos. And some days I don't feel like doing marketing. But what I learned when it comes to motivation, that oftentimes comes and goes. One day you have that spark, and other days that spark just goes out. But I've learned that discipline is what keeps the project moving. There were years that people didn't even know Venus Orion Comics existed. I wasn't posting comics. I wasn't launching books. I was simply building, writing, planning, learning, saving money, trying to figure everything out. It wasn't glamorous, but it was necessary. Nobody can support something that they don't even know that it exists. And this was one of the hardest lessons that I had to learn. I used to think if I make a great comic, people would just find it. And that's really how it works. People have to know that it exists first. This is why I started making YouTube videos, and why I started to go through the storytelling, the world building process, and to share my creative journey as an independent creator. Because people don't just buy comics, especially when it comes to the independent space. People buy into the creators, their journey, and they watch their progress. And I used to think that all I needed was the comic. And now I realize that I also need a community too. And you also have to be patient. And this is one thing that I've learned and figured out that social media does really, really well. Social media convinces people that people can become success overnight. But when you actually look closer, most creators spent years trying to get there. And that was definitely true for me. Venus Orion Comics didn't happen overnight, and it's still building over time as I produce more content and actually expose the universe itself to people who follow me. There were years of planning, years of learning, years of saving, then finally, Chapter 1 was released. And even now, I'm still building. Orion Killers, Vampire Killers Chapter 2 is almost done. And actually, it'll be finished by next month. And then we have the variant covers to complete, and it'll be ready for spring of 2027 Kickstarter campaign. And beyond that, there are still years of story I still want to tell. And this is a marathon, not a sprint. And something else that I've noticed recently, this journey doesn't just help you make better comics, it also changes you. It teaches you discipline, patience, problem solving, communication, business, and of course, leadership. I've become a completely different person from where I started in 2020 up until now. And honestly, I am grateful for that, because even if Venus Orion Comics never became what I dreamed, I've become a completely different person today compared to what I was like back in 2020. And honestly, I am grateful for that, because even if Venus Orion Comics never became what I dreamed, the person I became while I was chasing that dream was worth it. If you're sitting here right now thinking about creating your own comic, video game, novel, music, or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve as a creator, don't allow anything I say scare you. Instead, allow it to prepare you. You're going to make mistakes. I'm still making mistakes. You're going to learn things you never expected to learn. And that's okay, because no one starts this creative journey knowing everything. I'm simply sharing what I've learned so far. Maybe 5 years from now, I'll look back at this video and realize that there are still lessons I haven't learned yet. And honestly, that's part of being a creator. You never stop learning. You just keep showing up, keep creating, keep improving. And eventually, one day you'll look back and realize that you built something that you thought wasn't even possible. And that's exactly how I feel when I hold my comic book in my hand, Orion Killers, Vampire Killers, Chapter 1. And that pretty much wraps up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope this motivates you to go out there and create, because as I said before, if you have already created and released your comic or whatever creative piece of art that you have put out there into the public, you're already ahead of the curve, because most people stay at the dream phase where they just dream and don't pursue anything. But if you are at the dream phase and finally stepping out there to create your own, I just wanted to prepare you that there's a lot of work that's involved, especially if you want to reach the next level of this creative journey process. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, the subscribe button for more creative knowledge that I have and I want to share with you guys as you're going through your own personal creative journey. So hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell for more content coming soon. This is Brian Howard Blackson Jr. signing off.